Hello and welcome to our community discussion again. It's getting into December now, the December 5th, 2024. Remember that next week I'm going to be giving the presentation on supplements, and we're going to go into some of the more interesting science-based supplements. But today we have the privilege and honor of listening to Naghiele Walker. And Naghiele Walker has been a nutritionist for over 20 years and has had many clients and has helped people through almost all areas of life difficulties. And she has some very important information to share with us today. So would you give a little background on yourself, Naghiele, and start your presentation?
Yes, I would love to. So good morning, each one, and thanks for attending this webinar. And so I'm so happy to share this information that is very valuable to me. So like the doctor mentioned, so I got my bachelor's degree in nutrition back in long time ago, 1980, in 1983. So my youth. So I had a fortune to study in Mexico City, one of the best college or universities. And so it was a really good experience since when I started teaching nutrition based on community. That's what we promote. Mostly was prevention to communities, so help communities, in Mexico City. It was a beautiful experience. I was part of uh, my formation for my degree and all of what I thinking now is my perspective, the big perspective, the way I studied in the school. It was also, um, it was really centered about scientific research. So I did a lot of scientific research. So that's what is my background. So that's what I apply. I don't just going what Google says. So my background is basically in scientific research. So that's what I normally do when I do a presentation or when I teach or when I write my papers, right? So in about 2013, I got moved to US and I had started my family. So I had three beautiful children, two grandbabies, two granddaughters, and my husband is a wonderful man. So in 2013, I want to continue my education because I want to get my certification in US for become a dietitian nutritionist. So I start my family and it was challenging. So I decided to yeah, a course. So I went to IIN, which is an Institute for Integrated Nutrition. This school is in New York, and so to me was the way it's called integrated. Is basically holistic. So I love the program. I follow in love to the program. It was too much content in a few months, almost a year, but I learned like I never in my life. It was a lot of good content, and so when I start thinking about holistic was when I moved to US. They see a lot of children with ear infections and all of those chronic diseases that I didn't see that much in my clinical practice in Mexico City, which I did only for a year and a half. And so it gave make me start researching and see why people are so sick in here. I know winter is different, like what I used to grow Mexico City, the beautiful weather. But I saw a lot of conditions that I saw in my clinical practice, and so and that really made me awake. I don't want that for my family. I don't want to use medicines. I don't want to use too much medical, doctors. And so it's when I start going to more towards natural healing and also use more nutrition for to feed my family and also to strengthen the immune system. So I really is my practice basically is more like be a mother and my kitchen is my lab. So but also studying like this I say this program in 2013 IIM was a beautiful blessing in my life. And since then have a I haven't done programs about detoxing. Is one of my biggest strengths is detoxing, this intoxication. So I have a lot of experience in that. And the results with my clients, they were fabulous. So And before that, I worked for WAKE, for the government, for here in Utah, in Provo. I became a lactation counselor, but then I got my certification like a lactation consultant. Unfortunately, I didn't keep my certification going, but it was a beautiful experience. So last week I was with my other study that she had her second baby, and recall all the emotion about breastfeeding and the challenges, and that makes me so excited about how important to teach people about nursing babies and how important is breastfeeding, how important to have a natural birth. My daughter has a fortune in the background because since her mother-in-law, and her family, and my son-in-law and myself, we try to go more than natural, so she had a natural birth. I mean, probably I'm talking too much that I'm not supposed to, but I mean, to me, this is very important, the foundation of life, right? So start from the beginning. The mother has to eating well, exercise, and try to deliver a healthy, natural baby. So I see the difference in my granddaughters, right? How they grow and they're very strong, very healthy. So I see in this baby and the sacrifice of being nursing, but and for the mothers that are here in this, they're attending this webinar, how difficult and challenging it is, especially when you're the first time be a mother. But each one baby is different and it's a different experience. But also, I think this is the base, and I always encourage moms the nursing, avoid the use formula. So this is one of the things, my strengths. I try to they promote health, by natural birth and also breastfeeding. And as long as the mother can handle, the best. So, and then I get my license or through the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. So that's what I using for still my practice. And so I really love what I do about sharing the message about what is a holistic approach. And also, I've been studying a lot of functional medicine, functional nutrition is one of my strengths too. So try to find out and go to the root cause, what a condition, what a illness, which I mean, in reality is no, that's what I figure out in my practice with my detoxing programs. The people is not really, there's not really illnesses or sickness like we have, I don't know how many, right? They mentioned how medications and quick fixes for that. It's, excuse me, it's mostly based the root cause is malnutrition, deficiencies, and toxicity. So stress, those are the biggest root causes of illnesses or conditions, especially in these days. And also, the way we eating these days, the way is promoting the fast food and the processing food. And so it's kind of interesting to me to see be in the kitchen, planting a garden, growing my vegetables. It has made a big difference in my life, and it's a lot of work. I won't deny it. It's sacrificing, it's truth, but it's comforting and give me the peace that what I'm learning and applying, and I can share to people. So it's a blessing. So in my program from the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, and I want to use the base approach for this institute is the circle of life. And so this is, I see a lot of, especially in these days, the people is out of balance, right? That's what is so much conditions or illnesses like mental and physical, because people is not covering their primary loves. That's what we call in my practice the primary foods. So sometimes people's lack of spirituality, they don't practice, any kind of spirituality, or the career they're having, they don't like them. They're, it's like, they're trapped. They do by doing every day, doing something to earn, money for their needs, but also there's something people hate or don't like the rest of their time of their life. And social life is very important, right? Especially I see when I moved to US, in Mexico, people's always in the streets, in the markets, in the buses, in the I'm from Mexico City, being in the subway, always I see the interaction with people is very important for our mental and our emotional, right? So relationships, I see this is one of the biggest problems in our society. And all of this, what I go say about talking this circle is the approach in my program, the primary foods. If one of these is lack or there's out of balance, it's gonna it's gonna end up to having conditions or mental illnesses, conditions, whatever you want to call them, because we are no fit, we are no getting what we really need, the most important, right? The part that love life in the way we enjoy all of the parts of our life. It's not just food and supplements and exercise, it's a whole thing, right? See the holistic approach to be a healthy human. And so in these days also I see that people doesn't cook, a lot of people go out and eat a lot. People doesn't, families don't eat together. So this I see over and over, and I mean I can write chapters about this, how hard it is to see how this is destroying our society, our well-being, because we're going towards the wrong direction. And so, but one of the things I saw the most is relationships. Sometimes the most important, the relationship with ourselves. We don't love ourselves enough. They accept our image and love and care about ourselves and nurture ourselves. So that's what I think. So we have a lot of imbalances, especially people like or people use comfort foods, like ice cream, cookies, sweets, because they lack of love or hug, kisses. I mean, something very simple, right? Things like we don't think about thinking deep about how this can promote those imbalances, and people crave a lot of junk, right? And so, unfortunately, all of the main food or the products they sell in the stores, they taste so good because they work so hard and spend millions of dollars and taste good, those, quick fixes. But in the long way, they creating a lot of um, more cravings. Sugar, is one of the biggest because lack of calories and good nutrition. So I see a lot of this in my practice, that people need to work more in their relationship with themselves and love themselves and take care for themselves. And so this is my message. It was one of my biggest messages, try to think in deep how well we take care of ourselves, our mental, what we think, what we eat, what we put in our mouths, and what we think about the other aspects of life, that is our spirituality, our creativity, our finances, our career, education, health, physical activity, home cooking, home environment, social life, joy, enjoy, and never stop. This is another message I want to share with you because it's my personal experience. Never stop to love what you do when you was a child, when you was a teenager. So if you miss those gaps in your life, do the things that you love and you used to do before. If it's possible, but you can start doing that. They feel that and find more joy in your life, and feed those gaps. And so, like I said, the primary foods in this circle of life, how the way it works, it's like you had this circle and you had a dot in the middle, and you put a dot. Yeah, if you think you lack of creativity or relationships, you need to work in at work, at home, at school, with your partners, with your children. You put a dot in the middle if you need, you think like it's okay. If you think that your relationship with your fellow men are good, so you can put the dot at the end of the circle. And so you do in each of these aspects, and then you at the end you try to put it together, the dots, and you go see what is the lack or the things that you need to work on, like as finances, health, relationships, and then you can see how this when you start working in these aspects, is gonna help you holistic in your health and your well-being. So it's very important to look at the big pictures. And then I want to show you, if it's someone will like to have do this exercise, I can email you. I can share at the end my email, and you can I can send you this exercise that you can apply in yourself. That's very interesting. And they make you open, they may give you a vision what you have to work more. They be more in balance and be more healthy, more happy, and enjoy more life. So this is another aspect that I learned in this program, bioindividuality. So when I try to put a title for this presentation, which is the iron diet. So when I went to IIN and studied this program, it was the second or third month. And so they let us to study more than 100 different diet theories. And so, there's I don't want to name it all of those, but some of them, but it was kind of interesting to see the diet of water on the moon and the stars and many, many, many different theories that people, every day sometimes every season is a new different diet, and people follow the crowd. It's like they um they 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 m- they marketing so hard, and people believe this is the best, and let's do this approach, and because the celebrities or because the gurus they say this is good, or the book publishing and say, oh my gosh, this is going to make you happy, healthy, and lose weight, But in reality, it was interesting to learn all of this approach because I don't know how many diets are in this day. I haven't researched that, but in back then when I studied was more than 100. So I mean, it was hard to read and study about all of them, but at least we had the taste about what is up there, and what people think about the way we have to eat or the way they say is the best, right? But in my practice, I learned this program that bioindividualities and its approach to functional nutrition, which means it's like we have to see. I said with my clients, and I figure out what is the imbalances that what I talk in the circle of life, what is the lack of the primary foods, and so then about their part for working with their nutrition or their functional nutrition. So I see with them and I individualize their own program because I can say this paleo diet or this whatever diet is the best, not because each person is unique, the genetic is different, is unique. So we can say this is global or this is what is supposed to be for it works for everybody. No, because much of the traditional nutrition is one size fit all. So, but doesn't consider bio individual needs. So that's what is my approach, and I love this that we can share ideas. What I'm trying to explain you or try to share this morning, but you have to eat intuitive, listen to yourself and what is work for you too. So I'm not working that eliminated a bunch of food or main food, junk or whatever. So I try to, when I say, okay, this is better, you eat grains. So we go start with one grain at a time, and you can taste, and you know how to work and use this grain, or eating beans. Well, let's go start eating beans, vegetables. I suggest go to the Mexican store, go to the ocean markets, and see all of those green leaves and all those veggies, and try one at a time. So it's like a start little by little, but integrated and adding, not just removing and take it off. It's like giving little by little, but that people can start learning how to they use food and how they can work for them. So I will say my clients, so this is what you go to eat for breakfast, and I give you the options, different, recipes or ideas, foods they can use, and then they can journal and they write it down how they feel after they done the breakfast or the lunch or the dinner. So they have to track the journal, and they go say, oh, I feel like a bloating, I feel like I have a headache, or I feel like my brain is foggy, or I feel, or the opposite, right? When people start eating healthy and more vegetables, more fruits, they start feeling, the inflammation reduce. So they start healing, and they start feeling, thinking better, they have better mood. So food, really, what you put in your mouth is going to be the consequence of how you behave, the way you think, and the way you are, right? Because it's your cells. Whatever you eat is in your cells, is what you are, what are you walking, right? So, so it's very important, like I said, talking with client, individualize their program, and share what is the options and methods or systems in the way they can apply, and um they will be able to they make changes. But it has to be with the knowledge, the education, and they have to be gradually, right? Is one step at a time. So when I'm talking about functional foods, so I'm talking about the ingredients or the content, the micronutrients, uh, vitamins, minerals, the fiber, another functional foods, that probiotics. There we have a lot of information in these days. So mushrooms, So most of the food, talking about like a plant-based diet of foods, basically they have properties for prevention, and healing. So like I said, the medicine the food made your medicine. So that has very clear study. Food can heal, food can prevent in so many conditions, chronic conditions that we see in these days, like I didn't see in my practice 30 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like it's just the numbers is coming more and more, and we have to stop this plague of those conditions, because it's possible by what we put in our mouth, right? So be more conscious and love ourselves, and see what is the best for my unique needs, my bio individuality, and don't listen what the others think and say. It's just make my research, ponder, and see what is the best and what it works for me. And so this is one of the parts of my practice. Sorry, I removed the PowerPoint, right? Sorry. So you can see my slides or no anymore. So you can see this slide, the plate for functional foods. Okay. So
we can see it, but you can start your presentation again by clicking that little
clicking, I removed it, right? When
slide thing up.
I don't know what I did, what I clicked, because I tried to remove the little screen. Okay, sorry. So
Okay.
this is the integrated nutrition plate functional foods. This is again from my program, the integrated nutrition. So that's that plate how it works, the same like the circle of life, your physical activities, relationships, spirituality, and career. So when we're talking about functional nutrition, and that's what you'll be learning with Doctor in his wife, the about what is in your program, what are you doing your coaching, how important is to have in your plate most vegetables, right? Fruits and vegetables. So this is mostly what we also use in my practice, right? A lots of vegetables, use greens, crucifers, etc. We go talk about more deep about this. Eat the whole grains, and the protein can be animal protein or vegetable origin protein. Beans, mostly beans. Grains has some grains, they're beautiful, and we will talk about that. So water, so also part of my practice, I forgot to mention, I use a lot of the Ayurvedic medicine. I love the Ayurvedic, the way is they integrated the healing foods, the way they prepare their meals in the Ayurvedic medicine. They use all the spices, the herbs, how they warm and how healing, how these foods that really they have a lot of vitality too. Give a lot of vitality, and it's amazing how when one of the Ayurveda beliefs is that water, how do you hydrate your cells, right? And you use in your practice when Dr. Samuelson and in the water, like how do you how do you hydrate your cells, your body? So this is very important, right? The bring small amounts and warm water. I see in the winter how people get so sick, especially here in US, like we live in Utah, because people eat a lot of ice water and I don't know what they do into their digestive system and so I think so this way when you drink the way that you better approach is that helps also the keep your mucus and your upper respiratory system more hydrated and more moisture. So it will be less illness and conditions like for like a colds and all of those type of infections. So water is very important. We know 60% of our body is water. So this is one of the things I see people um is lack of that, and that's why they're also eating a lot of comfort food and junk because yeah, like the hydration is very important to keep our body, the water we need and the rule for the water we need for each individual, individualize our water intake. And so in my focus in this presentation about when I say what is the best diet, what is the best approach is this is my part online, my favorite part. The when I talk about in functional nutrition is fiber. So when we're eating whole foods, coming for the ground because what we can eat, is the best way they eat it in the state they are natural, like fruits and vegetables when in the season. So, like for example, when I have my garden, it's beautiful. They go and grab my peas and grab my squashes, and I feel when I eat it, the nutrition they give me, and in other part is the when I try to talking about this part is the fiber. So, like I was mentioned before, grain, beans, seeds, nuts, vegetables, fruits, potatoes, and using in our daily diet is on our daily nutrition, is very important. And so we know the only way we get fiber is through plants and the macronutrients, like the phytonutrients. This coming only from plants, the rainbow, like is the best way they say. So even the potatoes, I've been using a lot of the purple potatoes, the rainbow potatoes they're delicious and they're comforting and they have a lot of fiber also. So this is one of the 5% of the Americans only get the what is the recommended daily amount for adults is 25 between 38 grams. And when the average of the Americans diet, the average is only 50%. So when I want to approach what fiber is so important because fiber is gonna keep us out of the be ill and go to the doctor. Honestly, it's very important. It's the best, grains, the the grains, the vegetables, the all of the fiber and the nutrients, how they can keep us with the energy, long energy. It's not just we will be hungry later. This satisfies our calorie needs and also the functional nutrition. So when I was studying the the blue zones, some of you are familiar with, they're mentioned in the documentary that these five zones or these places, the amount of fiber is 120 grams a day. In the paleo diet back then for our ancestors, I don't know, 200 years ago, I don't know, 300, I don't know how many years ago, because even our great grandparents, they eat more fiber than what we intake in these days. So it's the amount they intake was 100 grams a day. So in my research, I've been found that the more you eating into your diet fiber, the less you will be ill and you will be able to be functional and function and be healthy. So I think so it's very important to focus on fiber and no calories and those aspects about eating how much protein, how much fat is because in the way we go using all of those nutrients that go help us to be more in balance and more healthy. So this is an example. I found this from this book, The Fiber Effect, that I recommend. Sorry. So like I see how much grams or, or, or fiber is in beans, for example, beans and peas. So you can see maybe beans scoop 1 cup is 19 grams. So if we say the American diet is 15 grams a day, when you eat half a cup of beans, you have your 10 grams of fiber, right? A ver, let me see. So there's the less, all of the beans. There's so many in your country. You have different kind of beans. So this is one of my message. Try to explore and learn more about how the local beans they produce in your area, and so your country, and try to use it more. The grains. The grains are amazing, like the amaranth and quinoa, which quinoa is considered more like a seed, but I mean, it's still in the group of the grains. But amaranth and quinoa, they have the nine different amino acids, the essential amino acids. So it has all of the protein we needed. So I make my amaranth for breakfast sometimes. So I boil it with cinnamon. Amaranth is an ancient and a grain that is from Mexico City, from Mexico. So I use in when I start my career as a nutritionist in Mexico City because it was exactly the university in the area where it's produce the amaranth, and it's a wonderful grain. So in Mexico City they sell these snacks they call alegrías, and they make like snacks. They're like a kind of bars made out of amaranth pop. They pop the amaranth. It's hard for me. They pop the amaranth. I always burn it. I don't know how they do, but you can Google, say, check in YouTube. But the amaranth is an amazing grain, and so like I say, have all of the amino acids, and you can. In Mexico City also lately, before when I was in Mexico, they didn't use that much amaranth, but in these days in the stores, in the markets, they put the amaranth and they sell for they sell for cereal, like as a cereal for breakfast. So it's an amazing grain, and you can find in the health stores. So this is sort of the grains that mostly I use it for my family in my practice, but there's more, there more. And so I wanna in this area about ancient about the grains. I don't know how much time. I think so I don't have much time, but just I want you to write it down in the chat or think what is the grains that the local in your area, and so in thinking those you can use more in your daily basis for your intake. So it's very important. Yeah, if you can. Okay, that's okay. You can. Sorry to take your time, Brenda. Have a good day. It's okay. So then talking about seeds and nuts. So the chia seeds has 11 grams for 2 tablespoons. Flax is 1 ounce, 8 grams of fiber. So it's very important to see how we can get fiber from seeds and nuts. A lot of fiber, like a hemp seed, 4 grams. In hemp seeds, the omega-3s like the chia flax seeds are very important for our omega-3s. So we can incorporate in our salads and our breakfast. Sunflower, 1/4 cup is 3 grams. And vegetables and sea vegetables, 1 cup of jicama, this is a big food that we eat in Mexico, and 1 cup is 6 grams. Beets, 1 cup is 4 grams. Celery has 1.5 grams for 1 cup. And when we're talking about sea vegetables, have the micronutrients for and the sea vegetables because they have a lot of minerals. Just dulce half a cup is 8 grams. So it's amazing. Or how you can incorporate this in your diet and have all of the fiber that you need. So this is more vegetables, Brussels sprouts. 1 cup is 6 grams. Broccoli, the cruciferous broccoli, 1 cup 5 grams, cauliflower 1 cup 5 grams. These are so important for preventing for cancer cells, the the helps our cells, they destroy all of those the produce cancer cells. So I also encourage they have at least half a cup of cruciferous every day, and it's preference to cook them. Sometimes I use just the cauliflower raw for my salads, but it's preference to using cook. The squash is the acorn squash, 1 cup is 9 grams. And so the suggestion about for fiber intake is we have to do it slowly. So we have to increase it slowly because why we can get constipated. It's kind of not good thing about that. But you have to do slowly and you have to try different, like I said, different vegetables, different grains at the time. And so what I suggest is have grains, and because for your calorie intake and the nutrient density you need it for your bodies for adults is like have grains for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so beans once a day, vegetables for your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. That's no negotiable. Your vegetables, you can get your 6 cups, 7 cups by doing smoothie in the morning, salad for your lunch, and for dinner, your soup, you put a bunch of beautiful vegetables in your soup or your stew, whatever you're fixing for dinner. So, okay, sorry, again, I move it. Ah, I did the same mistake again. Sorry. So you can see my slide?
Yep, everything looks good.
Okay. So, well, like I mentioned, beans. Also, if you're not used to use beans, try to do like have a spoon, uh, and then incorporate until you feel like your bacteria and your gut can handle. So I say when my clients they don't eat beans, so eating with probiotic foods like fermented foods like you can put some miso, you can put some sauerkraut. They'll be more easy to break it down and be digested. Um, so another part of the functional nutrition, and you've been talking about in many webinars, is the probiotics. And so also um, by intaking or eating fiber, based for whole foods. So that's your prebiotics that you need to feed your good bacteria, your probiotics. When you take in probiotics with probiotics, it's more effective. That's what is very important to eat a lot of fiber because it will feed a good bacteria. So we will be more balanced and feed a good bacteria in our gut. And you know what does that mean, right? The connection also between the gut and the brain. So this is how holistic, how everything works together, how beautiful it is. The foods see the whole thing about foods, how they can heal, how can prevent the ill conditions, how can help us to have the strength, the energy, the stamina for everything we need to do every day. So I think so it's very important to think about how we can incorporate more fiber in our diet and eat more probiotics or more fermented foods. But like you've been learning in another presentations, you have to do also gradually, right? And so the benefits of fiber intake is healthy weight, energy, focus, promote mental and physical health, protect our cell DNA, inactive radicals cause cancer, destroy cancer cells, and decrease inflammation. This is very big in these days. All of those conditions that are based in chronic inflammation, systemic inflammation. So that's what I do with my clients. I detoxing. I apply my programs for detoxing. It takes 15 days. They have all the recipes. It's a beautiful program. They reduce the inflammation. So some people at 4 or 5 days, they call me, I don't have this pain anymore. My 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 bones hurt less, or the pain in my knees, or my joints, because really food talks. Food can tell you, your body will talk when you start giving what it needs. Real food, right? So I see this over and over when in my practice, especially when I do the detox programs. And at the end, preventing chronic degenerative conditions like we have so many these days. Cancer is a big one. So I think so. Diabetes. I can't believe when I read last 2 weeks ago how many amputations for diabetes because diabetes people have in US. I also was just in Mexico City. I was in Mexico City for 4 months. Unfortunately, my mom passed away for diabetes and complication, amputation. And when I was there, I saw over and over people in the streets everywhere, how many people has a problem and they have amputations. And I didn't know in US 70%. When I read that in US, I mean, that's alarming. We need to be more conscious about what is happening and around us. Maybe because we are in a healthy neighborhood where these things is no they're not obvious or they're not happen often, but if you go see under your nose and look at deep, these conditions are taking people's life. I don't know how many cancers, diabetes, heart conditions. So we need to be more able to love ourselves and take care of ourselves and be more conscious about what we put in our mouths. So no one diet fits all. Bio individuality, by eating plant-based diets key to optimal holistic health for any individual at any stage of life. Preferable to eat animal protein sparingly in times of famine or cold weather. Protect and create more balance and harmony for humans and the planet when we eat plant-based diet. So I'm very big about care about how important is what it grows from the ground. Stop eating what is in boxes and plastic wrappers and what we can stick it in the freezer and put it in our oven. So in eating less out. So be more conscious about what do you stack too much? What is the lack of love or the emotional needs that you don't need to use the stacks or comfort foods, right? So it's very important. See what is in your fridge, what is in your covers, and and protect yourself. That try the eating less processing food and eating more whole food. That's my message. No one diet fits all. It has to be individualized. It's each person has their own prints and they have to use it that way. The energy in your feet, I mean, the skill, you can read it, you can say it later. So again, this is the end of my presentation. So eat more fiber. So little less animal products is going to be the best for all of us and our planet.
Well, thank you, Naghiele. Now you can see why she's such a beautiful addition to our CHC community and what she has to offer. Exactly what we know to be true in all areas of science, and now you have 20 years of experience in nutrition that is telling you that these are the things that we need to provide our body. Thank you so much for being here, Naghiele. We appreciate you. We love you.
Thank you.
Great. Now we turn the time over to you to ask Naghiele some questions or have comments. I know Steve had a comment there, which was really cool.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great, thank you. So let's turn the time over. We have about 10 minutes to ask questions. Thank you. Yeah, anyone who wants to just raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Can she take it off of her slideshow?
Yeah, that's what okay.
Yeah, I'll take you off, Naghiele.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I have a question for Naghiele.
Go ahead. Yes.
Good.
I live in Mexico, and I'm so happy to see Naghiele in this program. One of my problems is people talk about adults not drinking any milk. Is that true or false? You know, I drink light milk or without, not the real milk, but I drink light milk. I don't know if that's good. I'm an 82-year-old woman. I cannot. I've lived in milk all my life. I don't take it as much, but mornings in my cereal or at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that bread, and bread is also a problem. So how can you all help me? Or is it true about milk? And what can you say about bread? You know, we Mexicans eat a lot of bread.
Yes. So milk, in the US, I saw the statistics and same like a lot of broken bones. People drink a lot of milk in US, and there's a lot of broken bones. So I don't know if people use because calories when older, like I just say for your stage of life. But my answer is this. So nursing babies, giving more mom breast milk is the best you can give. And then after the lactation, you start giving full whole foods, you give it vegetables, you can start teaching little grains, beans. So my answer to you is the best is less animal produce, like a milk, cheeses, all of those kind of things they don't protect your health. They do the opposite. So I would say in your case, you can figure out like a plant-based milks. You can use almond, you can use whole milk, you can use oatmeal milk. So there's different things you can do if you want to substitute the milk. But in my practice, in my experience, I encourage people that, especially because I see there's a lot of people with broken bones. I mean, it's really what they promote. It's more like what they say in the media, but it's not really true that protects our health. So no, I mean, it's in my own opinion, in my experience, no. But I mean, you can work it out. What is you need in your unique individually, what it can feed your calories, so that way that you say I need to drink milk because that help me to calm and go to bed. So we can work it in that way that what you need, your individual need. I don't know if I answered your question and it's okay.
It's okay. Thank you so
Somebody else.
Any comments are welcome too.
Yeah, please. Yeah, feedback.
Great. We have from Lance in the messages, this is so good for my daughter and I who are listening as well, as we are on a 48-hour fast and a healthy diet. Congratulations, Lance. Yeah, keep it up.
So it was broken a little while you were saying. In America, we no longer have the ancient grains. Our bread, what is it? Our breads are made from the yeah. So guess what? I working with another science, so I found a grain is called a grain icon wheat. So this grow in Idaho. It's very organic, it's very ancient grain. So if you look in places in US, you can find, and you can find also from Amazon, they sell this grain, the wheat. I start working with, and it's like a wheat is from EG grow here in Idaho, and it's a beautiful grain. It's like wheat. So it's like this is another thing. Yeah, I know when people say, get out of the grains, it's, oh my gosh, they don't know what they're doing, And so I know it's because what it happens with the hybrid grains. I know I agree with that, and it's scary and it's sad what it happens in US because we export a lot of that everywhere. But I agree that if you can find ancient grains, you can find it in US. I mean, I've been doing my research because I'm working very hard to give you the best information to my clients. But I mean, this company is in Idaho, and I can share the information. And it's called icon wheat, and it's delicious, and it's a beautiful grain. Yeah. And it has gluten, yes. But I think so what happens with the gluten and no gluten is because what happened with those hybrid grains, they start growing in here. So people before didn't have intolerance and problems because eating wheat. And it's grown. I'm sorry, but it's so sad. Okay, go ahead.
The gluten, it comes from the hybridized grains. You don't have to worry about gluten with the ancient grains. That's a good thing about it. I did not know that you could get ancient grains at all in America. However, I've been using the Ezekiel breads, which are flourless or sprouted grains, and they don't affect you like the hybridized grains do. So just a FYI. So
Thanks for that beautiful comment. And so, yeah, one of the things I do is sprout my grains because I have leaky gut because that kind of food, a GMO, right? I don't want to talk about that, but that's what I did. That's what I'm been researching and studying this so deep because I was a healthy person in Mexico and I moved here and my health declined. Yes. And I go to Mexico and I come back here and I get so sick. It's like, it's mental, emotional. I mean, no, this is real. Because I was eating those grains because I believe was the best for me, but was what that it was, right? But yeah, you can find, even if you, I won't say that wheat from GMO that dried sprouted, but I mean, if it does the case, you can sprout it. But for making flours for bread, it has to be just a teeny sprout. You can leave it for a very long time because otherwise it won't work to make the gluten for making the bread. So it has to be a teeny sprouted. So yeah, it's very important. But yeah, you can find ancient grains in US. Yes.
and something
Thanks
I'd
for
like to just mention on the dairy part of it. If you could get A2 milk, it's a whole lot better for you. You can digest it better. You'll digest it quite well, probably. I think the biggest part of our dairy comes from the pasteurization part, because eventually we're going to be able to get raw milk back again. And raw milk won't bother you either. I'd be more like A2 milk too. So it's coming.
we are, we have to work hard for make those big changes, which I mean, because we need to teach this generation what is real food, right? What is real food? What our ancestors eat it and what we need it, right? So it's beautiful. I agree with you. But we have to work. We have to fight with our forks. Like this is one of just for finish my presentation. So this is one of my favorites, Dr. Joy Fuhrman. He's an amazing, maybe you know about him. So he's, let me see. Because maybe it's backwards, you can see very well what is the title, but I will send it later if you want me. So this is one of my favorites, Michael Pollan, Fight with Our Forks, one of his favorite books. So one of my favorites to study China. So those is my biggest resources I always try to incorporate in my teachings or my education to people. So I recommend those books right now. I mean, Dr. Feldman is really good. The integrated nutrition. So there are many people. So organic raw daily. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, the organic. I said your comment about the raw milk. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. So this is any other question? Maybe, okay, I will make that because we almost done. Maybe I go comment about the milk. I think so because sometimes people drinking so much milk and don't eat the calories for the other foods. This is one of the things I see with children. They give it a lot of calories with milk, cow milk. So that's what is important. They give it more whole foods. And so that's what the part of the lactation I see with mothers. They feel that people doesn't like vegetables in these days because the mothers are not educated. They teach the children, their babies, they eat vegetables. That's the mistake because the education part. But I think so that's why people use a lot of the milk. Instead, they use more whole foods like grains or beans or vegetables. But yeah, it's important if you can have access to raw milk. It doesn't have those hormones. That's perfect. That's better than the regular milk. Okay, I don't know if you have any other concern, question.
I think we're a little bit out of time here, though, but thank you. The reason why we started CHC program, by the way, was because we realized that only through education can we reduce the suffering of humankind. In this area of nutrition, we can eliminate about 80% of human suffering on the whole planet. And it's too bad that we don't have the foods that we need, like the ancient grains and the other things, in order to be able to provide our bodies with everything. But like Naghiele said, well, grow a garden. It is a little bit of a sacrifice, but your body it's needed. It's a needed sacrifice, and everyone needs to be able to do that. Not only that, when you grow a garden, you get all of the natural microbiome, and you get strength and exercise. There's so many different benefits. So may God bless you, and may He shine His face upon you during this holiday season and your families. And to all of you, a big hug. I love you all. Alan, it's too bad to see you without a Santa Claus beard. Love you still.
Only this year.
Maybe in another time. All right. Well, great. Next, we will be having. I'll be giving a supplement, the greatest supplements in the world to take for our foods. And also part of that will be the redox supplements and some of the nano supplements and other things that are coming out that can replace the deficiencies in foods. So, all right, we'll see you next week then, everyone. Thank you all, and take care.
So somebody,
Bye.
somebody suggests if we can do in Spanish, we will do this in Spanish if you want tomorrow, right? If you want to invite a friend, somebody post in the chat. It would be nice to have this presentation in Spanish.
Tomorrow at 7:00 a.m. on Utah Mountain Time.
You want to invite friends.
Yeah. Okay. You
Thank
can
you so much.
tune in the same channel. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.